A galaxy can survive the fall of one empire and still wake up years later to find the darkness returning in a new form. Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens begins in the shadow of an old victory that did not last. The Empire is gone, but peace never fully took root. In its place, a ruthless new power called the First Order is rising, hunting for the last Jedi while the galaxy drifts back toward fear. What begins as a search for one missing man quickly becomes the meeting point for lost children, old legends, broken families, and a new threat powerful enough to burn whole worlds at once. The story opens on the desert planet Jakku, where Resistance pilot Poe Dameron has come to collect part of a map leading to Luke Skywalker. But before Poe can escape, First Order troops descend on the village under the command of Kylo Ren. From the start, Kylo feels different from the villains who came before him. He is powerful, unstable, and hungry to prove something, both to the First Order and to himself. The attack is brutal and immediate. Poe hides the map inside his astromech droid BB-8 and tells the little machine to flee into the desert. Poe is captured, the villagers are slaughtered, and the film makes clear that the First Order is not just a political threat. It is terror dressed in military order, using spectacle and cruelty to announce its return. Inside the First Order ranks, one stormtrooper breaks. He is frightened, shocked, and unable to carry out what he has been trained to do. This trooper is FN-2187, later called Finn, and his refusal to lose himself becomes one of the most important human threads in the film. He sees what the First Order really is from the inside, and once he sees it clearly, he cannot go back. When Poe is brought aboard Kylo's ship for interrogation, Kylo tears the information out of his mind through the Force and learns that the droid escaped. Finn, horrified by what he has witnessed, makes a desperate choice. He helps Poe escape the First Order and runs with him into the chaos of battle. This is the first sign of what makes Finn compelling. He does not flee because he suddenly becomes fearless. He flees because fear finally pushes him toward the right decision. Their escape does not go smoothly. The stolen TIE fighter is shot down over Jakku and Finn survives alone, believing Poe is dead. Now stranded on the very planet where the missing droid has landed, Finn stumbles into the second major life waiting to collide with his own. That life belongs to Rey. Rey is a scavenger who survives by digging through the wreckage of old war machines and trading scraps for tiny portions of food. She is self-reliant, capable, and visibly shaped by abandonment. Every part of her routine says the same thing. She is used to doing everything alone, and she is still waiting for the family who left her behind. Jakku is a graveyard of old battles, and Rey moves through it like someone trying to build a future out of ruins without daring to hope for much more. BB-8 eventually finds Rey, and through her he also finds Finn. Their first meeting is built on confusion, lies, and shared panic. Finn pretends to be part of the Resistance because he knows the truth about himself sounds suspicious. Rey wants no part in any larger conflict, but once First Order forces close in on them, choice disappears. They grab the nearest ship they can find and blast off Jakku under fire. That ship turns out to be the Millennium Falcon. Rey and Finn escape through wreckage and open sky while learning on the fly how to survive together. Neither of them fully trusts the other, but danger keeps pushing them into partnership. That partnership deepens when Han Solo and Chewbacca reclaim the Falcon. Han is older now, worn by loss and regret, but still unmistakably himself. Chewbacca is still at his side, steady and fierce. Han quickly realizes the galaxy has changed, but not as much as he once hoped. The Republic exists, yet the First Order has risen from the ashes of the Empire. Leia Organa leads the resistance against it, while Han has drifted back into smuggling after his life with Leia and their son fell apart. Han also becomes the bridge between myth and reality for Rey and Finn. He confirms that the old stories are true. The Force is real, Luke Skywalker was real, Darth Vader was real. To Rey, who has spent her life in isolation, this changes the scale of existence. The galaxy is suddenly larger and stranger than the scavenger life she thought she knew. Their next stop becomes a dangerous encounter with old enemies and criminal gangs, but the important turn comes when Han decides to take Rey and Finn to Maz Kanata, an old ally who may be able to help BB-8 reach the Resistance. Maz Castle becomes a crossroads in the story. Finn wants to run, Rey still wants to return to Jakku, and Kylo Ren is moving toward them, driven by the need to crush the map before it can lead anyone to Luke. Inside Maz Castle, Rey is drawn to an old lightsaber hidden away from the others. When she touches it, the Force surges through her in a rush of visions, pain, and memory she cannot understand. The moment is terrifying because it breaks her sense of reality. She runs, shaken by glimpses of past violence and loss. This is the first major sign that Rey's connection to the Force is far deeper than she realizes. Before anyone can regroup, the First Order attacks the castle. Kylo Ren arrives in force and now the film shifts into open pursuit. Finn tries to leave, still believing escape is the only possible goal, but the battle forces everyone into action. Han and Chewbacca fight back, Resistance forces arrive, and Rey is captured by Kylo after he senses the importance inside her. Finn, who has spent so much of the film trying to run, now chooses to stay and help. Meanwhile, the larger political threat finally reveals itself. The First Order has built Starkiller Base, a weapon even more devastating than the old Death Star. The New Republic, which should have been the stabilizing answer after the fall of the Empire, is destroyed in one horrifying strike. With that blast, the film makes clear that the old war has not just returned. It has evolved into something even more reckless. Rey, now imprisoned on Starkiller Base, has to face Kylo alone. These scenes are crucial because they show both characters stripped of battlefield chaos. Kylo tries to enter her mind, expecting an easy victory. Instead, Rey pushes back. For the first time, she begins to understand that the Force is not just something she has heard about. It is moving through her. She uses that awakening to resist him, to reverse the mental pressure, and eventually to escape her cell using a power she should not yet fully understand but somehow does. At the same time, the emotional core of the film sharpens through Kylo's identity. He is not only a servant of the dark side, he is Ben Solo, the son of Han and Leia. He has turned against his family and now serves Supreme Leader Snoke, who feeds his rage and insecurity while pushing him to become more ruthless. Kylo is obsessed with Darth Vader, but what he really wants is certainty. He wants to cut out the conflict still living inside him, and he mistakes cruelty for strength. The Resistance learns that Starkiller Base has one exploitable weakness, and the final act splits into linked missions. Poe Dameron, who survived the crash on Jakku and reunited with the Resistance, will lead the starfighter assault. Han, Chewbacca, and Finn will infiltrate the base to lower the shields. Rey is already somewhere inside, fighting her own way free. This structure works because each character is forced into the role they have been running from. Poe becomes the daring attack leader he was always meant to be. Finn, who began the story only wanting escape, now willingly enters the heart of the enemy stronghold. Han, who spent years drifting away from the cause and from his family, returns directly to the center of both. Inside the base, Han and Leia's story reaches its most painful point through their son. Leia believes there is still light in Ben and asks Han to bring him home. Han agrees even though he knows how dangerous the attempt will be. This leads to one of the most emotionally charged scenes in the film. Han confronts Kylo on a narrow bridge above the weapon core and speaks to him not as an enemy, but as a father trying one last time to reach his child. For a moment it seems possible that Ben may come back. He looks torn, shaken, almost ready to let go of the darkness. Then he kills Han instead. The murder is not framed as a clean act of evil. It is a desperate self-mutilation, an attempt to sever the part of himself that still feels love and weakness. But it does not free him, it only deepens the fracture. Han death ripples through every remaining scene. Chewbacca answers with rage and blasts Kylo, wounding him badly. Finn and Rey each lose the one older figure who had begun opening the galaxy to them. Leia loses the man she still loved. And Kylo proves that his greatest enemy is not the Resistance, it is the conflict inside himself. With the shields down, Poe leads the attack on Starkiller Base while the ground mission collapses into direct survival. Finn confronts Kylo with the lightsaber, not because he believes he can win, but because Rey is in danger and there is finally someone he refuses to abandon. Kylo cuts him down, and now the story arrives at its final transformation. Rey takes the lightsaber, and for the first time she truly stops running. The duel between Rey and Kylo works because Kylo is wounded and unstable, while Rey is inexperienced but newly focused. At first she is overwhelmed. Then she centers herself, hears the Force around her, and turns the fight. She wounds Kylo and leaves him defeated just as the planet begins to tear itself apart. Poe succeeds in destroying the weapon and Starkiller base collapses. The resistance escapes, but the victory is sharply mixed with grief. Han is dead. The New Republic has been shattered. The war is only beginning. Yet for the first time the map to Luke Skywalker is complete. Rey, Finn, and BB-8 have become the people who can carry the search forward. The final movement is quiet for a reason. Rey says goodbye, receives Leia's embrace, and sets out with Chewbacca to find Luke. Their journey ends on a remote island world where Luke stands alone, carrying the burden of everything that came before. Rey climbs the steps and offers him the lightsaber. The film ends there, on recognition, silence, and the promise that the old legend and the new story are finally meeting face to face. The Force Awakens works because it uses a familiar shape to introduce characters wounded in new ways. Rey is not just a dreamer, she is abandonment sharpened into resilience. Finn is not just comic relief or sidekick energy, he is a man escaping indoctrination and learning what courage feels like when it is chosen instead of programmed. Kylo Ren is not a finished villain, he is a collapse in progress. By the end, Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens becomes more than a story about a map and a superweapon. It becomes the opening movement of a new generation learning that the old war never truly ended, only changed shape. And when Rey stands before Luke with the future of the galaxy hanging in that silent moment, the film lands on its strongest idea. Hope returns not when the past is restored, but when new people choose to carry it forward.